Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning to my respected lecturer, Madam Azmahani, and to all my friends. My name is Muhammad Fairuz bin Rosli, and my student ID 2019-725-719. It is an honor for me to stand in front of you to deliver the presentation. Topic of my presentation is about COVID-19 affected on industry of oil and gas in Malaysia. Now we take a look for my presentation. My presentation about the COVID-19 affected on industry, oil and gas. Now we take a look for the introduction. As we know that as the fundamentals are expected to improve over the next few years, crude oil price are projected to grow as OPEC focuses on keeping output level moderate, easing the lockdown of COVID-19, improving the demand for fuel would provide a space for price recovery. In 2020, uncertainty about the long-term effect of COVID-19 on demand for the oil and gas industry in Malaysia will continue. Our 10 years forecast shows no indication of peak oil demand in the coming decade, despite the unprecedented drop in fuel demand of almost 6 million barrels per day expected for 2020, while our growth outlook falls well below historic average, accelerating the rate of peak demand. Now we take a look for the content. How the industry is affected. Decrease in demand. The pandemic of COVID-19 has caused a major effect to oil and gas industry, especially on financial performance in second quarter of 2020. The decrease in demand is bringing the worries to them from oversupplying the fuel and oil products, which will also cause fall in cost. Petroleum Nasional Berhad Petronas is among those national oil companies that affected with the expected losses in quarter 2 by analysis, since the first movement restriction that happened on 18 March 2020 to curb a pandemic income of Petronas and other oil companies reducing. Global oil demand had fallen almost 20% in quarter 2 2020. Next, how it leads to economic downturn. Decreasing of national GDP. The data of GDP in year 2020 are shown in quarter where we have for the first quarter of 2020 GDP in January, February and March. For second quarter 2020 for month April, May and June. For the third quarter 2020, it is for July, August and September. For the fourth quarter, there are no data yet to be shown. In year 2020, the GDP of the first quarter is at RM 344.1 billion. The annual changes at constant price for the first quarter of 2020 are at 0.7%. For the second quarter in 2020, the GDP drops more at RM 289.4 billion and the annual changes of constant price decreased for 17.1%. Next point is who are directly and indirectly affected. Directly affected employers. Due to the pandemic COVID-19, this has affected Malaysia palm oil industry of having a shortage of workers. This could cause around US 2.8 billion worth of income of farmers, which is as much as 25% of their annual production. Malaysia's economy depends mostly on palm oil, the most crucial agriculture commodity, yet it needs migrant workers from other countries since the local refuse to contribute to the job. As countries in Southeast Asia is struggling to manage and curb this pandemic to be under control, governments have tight restrictions for workers to travel in and out of Malaysia. Next, what are the steps that the sector, the government or other parties have taken to overcome the effect? Strive to confirm the voluntary production. Despite the challenging business landscape, upstream continues to achieve operational delivery. In the first half of 2020, upstream reported an average total daily output of 2255,000 barrels of oil equivalents per day, lower than the 2418,000 barrels of equivalent per day recorded in 2019 on account of the low oil price and reduced demand induced by the prolonged impact of the COVID-19. This was partly offset by Brazil's higher liquid output. Furthermore, as decided collectively at the OPEC ministerial meetings, Petronas continues to aim to add higher to the voluntary production adjustment in the line with the ambition of the government of the Malaysia. Now we take a look for the recommendation. Make a joint between government and the industry. The recommendation included the need to a joint government-industry cost optimization exercise at a more holistic level across the whole ecosystem relevant to the oil and gas industry. The producers of the oil and gas should make an official agreement with the government regarding the strategic operation planning in Malaysia. The agreement should be focused on cost efficiency and optimization. This is because if the cost of the production for oil and gas industry decrease, the price of the oil, natural gas, fuel and many other products of the industry will also decrease. It will benefit the people as the price of the oil and fuel will drop and many other industry indirectly as manufacturing industry which had been using oil for the machineries and reduce their cost of the production. Lastly, we take a look for the conclusion. In conclusion, the industry was affected by the pandemic COVID-19, which leads to many economy problems. The effect and the industry are the decreasing of demand, where the demand of oil and gas have decreased at 20% for the second quarter of 2020. The oil price also crashed. The price of the barrel of the Brent crude oil was US 23.03 compared to a barrel in March last year, US 65 per barrel. It also affected the tax. The industry was affected by the pandemic COVID-19, which led to an oil price collapse. That's all for my presentation. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.